This is the OMFL.
You can't touch this.
And you're in the mix with kind of real name. Here's another OMFL production.
Good morning and welcome. Good morning. Listen, it's 2:30 in the afternoon. See, I'm already screwing up the welcome, but welcome to Press Pass Live. I am your host, Kinda Real Nate. Thank you so much for tuning in to your weekly podcast show for the OMFL CFM for Madden 19. We're so glad that you are here. The whole gang is here, plus one, and we'll get to the plus one in just a little bit, but let me bring in my guest, as always, my co-host, Mr. Dwayne, Mr. Dawson, Mr. Maniac. How you guys doing on a Sunday afternoon?
Pretty good.
Good.
Good. Fixing to pour my first drink of the day, and we're going to go with it.
2:30, we got the first drink. That sounds like a good Sunday. I can support those types of ideas here. Let's just jump right into it and talk about why we got a plus one. We got our buddy Mr. Smash with us. We're going to do 5 good minutes with Mr. Smash, a little interview show. Mr. Smash of the Bears, how you doing on a Sunday, buddy?
I'm doing great. Raining in here in Jackson, Mississippi. Well, right outside Jackson.
Yeah, I think it's about to start raining here in New Orleans. I got to say, though, I am extremely jealous. I got a little golf on the TV. Yes, I am one of those nerds that does enjoy watching a little golf, and these guys have the life just figured out, man. They're playing professional golf, making hundreds if not millions of dollars. One guy is literally smoking a cigar as he plays on this most beautiful views of this golf course, and on a beautiful day. Golfers have the life figured out. I'm super jealous, but we're not here to talk about golfers, but we are here to talk about Mr. Smash and his Bears. So let's do just that. A really big win for you, I think this past week against the Minnesota Vikings. Of course, Tim came over for the Tennessee Titans, took over the Minnesota Vikings when Duvall left. A little sad that Duvall's gone just because of all that trash talk that we had going there. But tell us about that win. How did the Bears pull it together? How'd you come out with a victory?
Well, I guess nothing changes, does it? With the Vikings and the Bears. No, Tim, I think, is just getting used to his team, and he's used to certain players, and he don't have them on the Vikings. I played Tim in another league going over maybe about 5-6 years, so I know he's like Bengals light here, Cincy light. So, I kind of know how to play him, but I don't know how to play Cincy. So I don't think Tim, like I said, has his players yet. And I'm in a transition myself, going from a 4-3 to a 3-4, well, 3-4 hybrid. So.
Well, you definitely had some things figured out this game. Trubisky was 12 of 13 with 3 touchdowns. Procise was 17 attempts, 111 yards, 2 touchdowns. You were definitely rolling on offense, and of course your defense always plays really well. Talk about your season. You're sitting at 3-2 with that win over the Vikings that put you in first place. How are you feeling up to this? We're almost, we're a little past the quarter point. How are you feeling about your team?
Well, I thought I was the third best team in the division. I'm a little surprised at the Lions and the Packers. Last year, I know they had a bad season, but I think it was just because we had to face the AFC South and the NFC South. But like I said, I'm sort of surprised. I thought Duvall had his act together at 3-0, but I guess he just decided to bail on me. And as of right now, I'm sitting at 3-2 along with the Vikings. Surprised to me. But I think I needed another season, and actually I was thinking about pulling the Falcons tanking, but when I get into a game, man, I just can't. I'm too competitive. I just can't sit there and especially if I'm not gonna say better than some of the guys that you play, but if you can see what they're doing and take advantage of it. And I just can't sit there and just I don't know. It's just the competitive me. But I really need some cornerbacks, basically, and I need a speed wide receiver. And other than that, I think the Bears are ready to go. Oh, I'm gonna need a halfback because I'm not gonna franchise Howard again, and he's been hurt. So,
Guys, please jump in here if you got anything for our buddy Smash. I mean, Smash, you're sitting at 3-2. You're talking about you were thinking about tanking. I mean, I know that you just rolled out a bunch of needs that you have, but like, how are you going to go for it this year? Do you think this is your division to take, or what's the plan to finish out the rest of season 83?
well, I'm looking for the Packers to turn it around. I mean, he spent a bunch of money a couple of years ago. I mean, he has the team. To me, he has the best team roster-wise in the league.
He's always spending money, though.
I mean, dude, but you see what he spent money on. I mean, he has the team, the best team in this division. And outside of the, not saying anything about AFC North, but outside of Cincy, he should probably beat everybody else in the AFC North. And if he can split with everybody else in the NFC North, he should take the division. I don't know if he's not in tune or what, but
he's
he
in
should take the division.
20 leagues, so.
Well, maybe that's why. That's probably why. Then I guess I say I get the league by default, probably 8-8. I mean, I get the division by default, probably 8-8. I can see myself going 8-8. I got the Ravens, Seahawks, Nate, and the Vikings again. So that would tell how the Bears would fare the rest of the year. So I think Ravens due for a win. I got to stop his running game. Then he got the speed receivers on the outside. Looks like he's taking a page from Dwayne and the old Bengals. What was his name? The old guy from the Bengals that used to have speed all over the field.
Houday.
Yeah, Houday. Look how he's taking a page from their book. So
Smash. I was just saying, this is going into your third season now with the Bears. You were the Chargers, start of the cycle. Just tell us, I mean, what's the biggest challenge you had since day one as far as the cap space, your players? With you being a Bears fan, I know in real life, I know it's kind of hard to let go some of those Bears players. I mean, what's been the biggest challenge for the monsters of the Midway?
Biggest challenge, the life happens, and biggest challenge was taking over from Outlaw, and it wasn't his fault. But coming in, free agency. He didn't do too much in free agency. Then the sad thing happened with his mom, and that's life. But and I had to deal with that. I'm like a season behind, basically everybody else. And then the biggest mistake I made the draft before last, not taking that linebacker Maniac took. So I'm just behind. My season behind. I don't have what I need to run. I don't have what I need to run my offense. I got a defense, but personally, me, I'm gonna need. Yeah, I don't have what I need.
You did just sign Roquan Smith, didn't you?
That's the biggest thing. Offensive line is coming along. I'm happy with that. The 3-4 defense I'm getting used to. Well, 3-4 hybrid. I switched to a hybrid defense. So.
And you just re-signed Roquan Smith.
Yeah, I had to sign him. 5 year. I had to go 4 years. So with the $10 million, he took $10 million plus. I forgot what the bonus was, but it was more than I wanted to pay. But free agency, he probably would have got $15 million.
10 a year? You paid him 10 a year?
10, 4 years, 10 mil.
Oh, that's not too
bad.
bad.
The bonus was. Yeah, it's not bad. But still,
that's a discount.
I'm cheap like the real Bear. So.
Well, I don't see me and you playing this season. So good luck the rest of the season. I know, like you said, Priest. He's got the players out there. Not sure if he's just stretched as far as playing time or what. But you do have a challenge as far as I guess painting the division, especially with Tim going to the Vikings. He's solid, in Detroit. And I think he won, I guess, the first two divisions, or the divisions, the first two seasons. So on my end, best of luck. And I am kind of glad you're going to let Jordan Howard go, because a lot of people are going to throw some money at him in the free agency. And
Dawson's already licking his chops.
Yeah, right. I'm already kind of looking at my space and see if I can afford him and everything. But I know the way it was in the previous free agency with Fournette, Kamara. I mean, everybody's just throwing a lot of money, and it's probably going to be the same thing for this upcoming free agency.
Well, Smash, I think the the Packers would have a lot more money to throw around if they didn't pay Aaron Rodgers $40 million a year. I would love to
I'm
see
still
who he-
scratching my head on that one.
I give Priest respect. He will pay his Packers. I'll give him that. But I would love to see what he would do with that kind of money. 20 extra million to throw on the rest of his roster. But I do have to ask you, how's life without Jordan Howard this season? I know you only got one carry with him on the season, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, CJ Procise. I mean, I saw him earlier last year for what he could do, but I don't. He could probably take over 5-6 games like he has done, but he's not going to be a back that I can just hand the ball off to every down. I picked up a couple of guys, and let's see, what's this guy, Kelly? He had a nice run, nice power back, and Adams. So, but I'm gonna have to draft a halfback, basically, all around halfback like Jordan. But I'm not franchising this guy again. I franchised him. He got hurt on the first carry. That's not gonna happen. And I must say, D Wayne, everybody try to pattern themselves after you, but like I tell anybody, learn a little something from him, but you can't do what he do. So, especially with those safeties, you just can't. I mean, my boy, what's his name, Outlaw. He want to pattern his game after you. I tell him all the time. We talk all the time, man. You cannot do that because he just gave up a safety. I can't believe. Late in the cycle, he gives up a safety with 86 zone, 80-plus man. Oh, he's not a big hitter. Nah, that's crazy, man. Come on.
Yeah, I won't understand Outlaw. And then, like I said, just a few minutes after that, he was looking for one in the trade market.
Right.
It's a hit and miss, man, going with that hit safety because they don't cover as good. Most don't cover as good. It's a lot of give and take. It is a rough road to go down going with the hard hitting safeties. I do have one more question for you. Your receiver is Sir Humes. Is that his name?
Mm-hmm.
Big body guy. He's not super fast, but he is a big body, and you kind of went a different. Well, I say not fast, but he's not 94 speed fast. But he's a big body guy, and you kind of went a different route with him. Was that by choice? I know you said you were looking for some speed. Was that by choice? But he looks like he's playing so good, good for you so far in his rookie season.
Well, I give you a draft secret, I'm sure, but anybody that drafts, you don't need that little draft deal that everybody, a couple of guys are using. Last year and this year, I passed on a couple of guys. Their grades. You look at the grades, 7.2. He had the highest grade, 7.2. I passed on a couple of guys. I passed on Nixon. Or what's his name? Not Nixon, the other guy the 49ers had. I passed on him. Could have had him. But certain things you look for in guys, if you draft, you'll see. It's no secret. I mean, it's a pattern. And he, to me, was the best receiver on the board. I mean, speed kills, but I needed a number one receiver because I had to clear space. I let Robinson go, and I let my number 2 go. So I needed a guy. And surprisingly, he was right there at the where I picked him at. I'm surprised he was there at 13. I think I had 13th pick.
Yes.
I'm not sure. Yeah, I had that pick, and he was, to me, like I said, speed kill, yeah, but he, man, this past game, he went up and he skied and got a pass over the middle. There would normally, animation would kick in, he would fumble. After this, I'm going to put it up. I think I saved, but I'm going to put it up on OMFL and show it to the guys. First game, he sucked, but 94 spec catch, he's supposed to go up and get the ball. 84 catching traffic. So right now, he's my number one receiver.
Go ahead, Maniac. I know you're oozing with questions over there.
No, I was trying to deal with my son over here. But one thing I did want to ask him is do you have anybody on your roster right now that you're really pushing to build to make that into that next superstar for the Bears?
Not really. I just got Humes and just decided to start this other guy I got in the second round last year's wide receiver triplet. So I got 2 6'4" guys on the outside, 6'4", 220, 6'4", 222. And the only thing I need is a slot guy, which I like a speed guy in the slot. Miller is 89 speed, 91 acceleration, but basically if I can get a high acceleration guy with 90 speed, I'm good with him in the slot.
Yeah, those guys like that quick in, quick out are really, really nice in the slot.
Right. In the slot, you got to hold on to the ball, too. So, it ain't all about speed, but, speed kills, makes you think. And right now, I don't have speed. So, but surprisingly, you can throw the ball up if you got the right type of receiver to a guy. that's big and tall. You know, speed is not the end all, but some guys can use speed to their advantage. And me personally, if I got a speed guy, 97 speed, I'm throwing it up. I'm gonna throw it up. Play action. I'm gonna throw it up. But with these crazy animations, because I heard Nate, he was playing this last game, who was complaining about the animation. Sometimes the damn animations just kills things.
Yeah, they're not fun. Last question for me. Our 5 good minutes has turned into 15 long minutes with Mr. Smash here. But last question for me. You got Trubisky. You know, he was 11 for 12 with 3 touchdowns against the Vikings. But overall in the season, 6 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. I think you've given up 9 sacks.
Yeah.
How do you turn things around for Trubisky? How do you get him to start playing well?
I don't. I just that's one of the. He's my Jay Cutler. Just sometimes he misses wide open passes, and I think it might be because let's see what he senses pressure, paranoid senses pressure. I mean, he misses wide open guys. The guy can be beating in on him, and for some odd reason, he throws it short or overthrows. Because a couple of those interceptions against Bengals, I had 6, were like, what is he doing? He threw the ball way past the guy. Like, what are you doing? And upon that, man, I just gave up. Really, the game was really over. It was close, but then it just got away from me. But you know, Cincy is Cincy, so what are you gonna do?
Well, Smash, we're going to keep our eye on your Bears this year. It's going to be an interesting division. I'm still chewing on this whole Priest thing. I mean, the dude's 1-4, and you're calling him to come back and win this division. I think this is going to come down to you, 0-0 the Lions, and then if Tim can kind of get his team figured out, it's always hard to jump onto a team that you didn't build for you and you didn't build for your style of play. And then, unfortunately, we had to kind of nix one of his trades that he was trying to do. So, yeah, I'm just interested to see how this division is going to play out and who's going to actually take it. So it should be a good one.
If it comes down to that, then, you know, Lions is always woe is me. I don't know. Woe is me. But somehow he finds a way to win the game. I don't know. He said the game sucked. I don't know. He's in one of those moods, but for some odd reason, he had, beyond me winning it last year. And by the way, Nate, it was a PPL you had said. I don't know if it was last year. It was last season. Oh. I just want to say I did not fall into that division championship. I took it because who did I beat? I beat Priest. I took it. I didn't fall into it. I took it. So I just wanted to say that. I took it. But nothing against, but I tell people sometimes you listen to PPL, it's good. And it kind of motivated me when you said I was going to fall into it because everybody else wasn't going to win. I took that division. I went 2-2 against the AFC South. I beat one of the best guys in the AFC South. So I'm just saying, I just took the division.
Well, if you go 2-2 and you beat Priest, I don't know that you can say you took that division. All right, Priest hasn't won this division in 15 years, so we'll have to.
Guess what? Hey, one last thing, and I outlaw you, my boy. But if you want, the Bears, I probably won't have the Bears next year. But I just want to say the Bears are doing good with a certain owner. I'm just saying.
They are doing good, and he's over there trying to rebuild those Texans to be the Bears light. So we'll see how it goes. 5 good minutes with Smash. Thank you so much for being with us, buddy. Have a great rest of your Sunday. And, we just appreciate you, and we're wishing you a lot of good luck and health for the rest of the season.
All right. Thanks for everything you guys do, and keep the league. Love. Peace.
Later, buddy. All right, there you go. 5 good minutes with Mr. Smash that turned into 15 long minutes with Mr. Smash, but it was all worth it. It's all good stuff. Let's just jump right into our 2-minute drill. I think you guys weren't with me last week. Unfortunately, I had to do it on a weird time, and so you guys weren't able to join me. I gave my predictions. So here's what we're going to do. We're in week 6 right now. We're going to cover weeks 4 and 5. So give me your best games from either week 4 or week 5. If you have a week 3 in there, I'll even let you squeeze in week 3 because I know you guys do your homework. So give me your best game. Talk about it. We're going to throw it over to Mr. Dawson. Best game from week 3, 4, or 5.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the week 5 game between the Jets and Browns. I watched a little bit at the beginning. Couldn't catch all of it. But the final score, it just it shows that it was a good scoring offensive game. And I know we don't really hear much from either one of these owners, but they contribute a lot to
Wait a
this
minute.
community.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. You don't hear a lot from Jason? That dude
Well,
don't shut up.
I guess I say as far as content, as far as like the team,
okay.
which with that being said, he does add a lot of content. And what I was saying as far as the team wise, as far as the making the playoffs last few seasons, pushing that playoff hunt. When he was with the Titans, he was either he won the division or was really close from getting the playoffs. So let me take that back. So okay, he's really always in the hunt. I know last season he was one of those AFC teams that got left out in the last wild card position. But with that being said, two solid owners, and then they got things clicking this season. I know we'll talk about Jets later on, but they're setting at 4-1, and Brown's setting at 3-2, and I think they just won the Week 6 game.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Spoiler alert. So they're 4-2 now. So solid teams in the AFC that's going to look to push and fight for a playoff spot. And like I said, going back to it was an offensive game. Total yards allowed. Jets allowed 476, whereas the Browns allowed 541 yards. So I'm pretty envy as far as those kind of offensive numbers with my guys. The way Cam's been playing the last few weeks. But if you look at the team stats, Jets they edged out the Browns with 3 sacks to 0. Also forced 2 turnovers, whereas the Browns only forced 1. Pretty even as far as third down conversions on penalties and things like that. So it really came down to, I guess, that 1 turnover difference, as well as the 3 sacks. Like I said, unfortunately couldn't catch it. But some solid offensive numbers. Baker Mayfield, 15 for 18, 428 yards, 3 touchdowns. Geis, he didn't have a good rushing total, but he did have a touchdown. You look over the Jets, Darnold at 20 for 32, 339 yards, 4 touchdowns, 1 pick. And I guess that's Robbie Anderson. He had 10 receptions, 220 yards, and a touchdown. So it's just some solid numbers. And look for these two teams to continue to fight it throughout the season and even potentially make it into the playoffs.
Yeah, not like K, right, to give up this many yards, 339 yards in the air, 4 touchdowns, 142 rushing yards, 10 receptions to Robbie Anderson. That's not a K-like defense, but got to give it to K. He is sitting at 4-2, so congrats to those Cleveland Browns. Big win from the Jets as Jason tries to get right back in the hunt this year. And as you said, we will talk about those Jets. Mr. Maniac, your favorite game 2-minute drill between week 3, 4, or 5?
I'm going with week 4, and also I'm singing the Jets' praises as well. The game between the division rival Kev and the Dolphins. This was a big game, and obviously this is a game that was very important to both guys. And Kev lost this game and stuff, and he's sitting right now at 1-4, and the Jets are sitting at 4-1. So this is going to be an uphill battle for Kev to get back in that division, since he's done real well in the division, top of the division for the last 2 seasons. So it's going to be a big uphill battle for him. But I mean, talk about Clyde, Jason, and those Jets. It's just he's been putting up a good offensive show pretty much every week. And this week he didn't do it so much to the air. Darnold had 13 of 18, very efficient for 158 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. But the story of this game was the big rushing game by J.I.J. 19 rushes, 161 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So he just dominated the game on the ground, and that if you can get a really good rushing attack, it seems like in this Madden, the way it's set up, you're going to be set up for success, because it just puts a lot of pressure on the defense to stop that run, and then it opens up things in the passing game. And I believe also big stories from this game minutes for the pass rush. I believe he had, I'm trying to count up here real quick, 7 sacks, and 4 of those was from a free agent pickup, Brockers. for him for the season. So, really, I mean, again, he's really just kind of put everything together this season. It seemed like this is kind of his season to shine, and it's going to be interesting to see how the rest of the division stacks up. I know the Bills have had better success this year since after having a rough go the last couple seasons and picking in the top 5 picks. And so this division is going to come down to really who can control the ball, and I believe it's for me. I think it's the Patriots or anything, because I know he's a really good player, but just with the type of offense that the Bills and the Jets have been showing, I think these two guys are going to be pushing for that division.
Yep, it's a really good game, and man, the Jets are just they're one of those teams, right, where he seems to be clicking and having things all together. Dwayne, 2-minute drill, weeks 3, 4, or 5?
My game comes from week 5. It was the Packers-Bengals. Packers-Bengals game. What am I talking about? 27-14, Bengals won this game. The score's a little deceiving. It was 20-14 going into last drive. Packers, he threw a pick 6 as time expired. It was just a great game all around. Like I said, I watched the last quarter that night, and I went back and watched a lot of it the next day. I think turnovers speak volumes here. You look at Aaron Rodgers, 9 for 25 for 261, 2 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. You can't afford to play somebody like Cincy and throw 5 interceptions. It's actually surprising that this game was a 6-point game, with no time on the clock. With Rodgers throwing them interceptions, he did run the ball well with Hartsell and Thunder. Was at 124 yards on the ground. He was really dispersed with the ball. He gave the ball 4 different guys, had 2 catches. I think if the Packers here if he can get Rodgers to be more, I hate to say economical is the word, just be more efficient, I think he wins this game pretty well. I think that just speaks volumes. Smash was just talking about the Packers. If he can figure out to cut these turnovers down, he's competing with the team here who is a OMFL champion, perennial guy every year. Then you go over to the Bengals, and he held them to surprisingly a pretty low offensive output, 177 yards passing. I think he had about 130 yards rushing between 5 guys. He only had 2 receivers with more than 2 catches. He really kind of took Cincy out of his game plan and made him, like I said, Cincy ran the ball well for the most part. I'd say ran the ball well, ran efficient enough to win this game. But it doesn't take a lot when the opposing team throws 5 interceptions. This was a really good game. Like I said, Packers had a chance to win the ball. He actually dropped a pick 6 on the drive before Cincy had to punt the ball. Got the ball, drove all the way down the field, got inside the 15, no time on the clock. He threw a pass, got intercepted as time expired, ran it all the way back. That's why the score is 27-14. But it was a really great game. I think this shows that, on any given day, the Packers can play with any team here. He just got to cut those turnovers down, and, you're not going to win many games with 5 interceptions. And I'll go back to Cincy. You can't take it away from him winning this game, because these are the types of bumps you hit in the road during a long season on games that I'm sure the majority of the league probably thought Cincy would win this one. And it just shows you can't sleep on anybody here in the OMFL.
How stiff is this drink that you're drinking right now? Like, I'm real confused by all of you today. Like, I love Priest, okay? And Priest is probably going to listen to this and think I love you, Priest. This is not... But, like, you just said he almost won this game. He lost 27-14. His quarterback was 9 for 20. He was nowhere remotely close to winning this game. This team is 1-3, and freaking Smash is talking about how he's going to win the division. What are you guys smoking? Like, how stiff is this one drink that you just made you?
Okay, the drink is pretty stiff. I'll give myself that. But like I said, this did come down to one play, 6 points. And that's what I mean by he was a 1 pass away from a 20-yard pass from winning this game. As ugly as this game was, he was in this game. And I know the stats don't really show it, because if you just look at the stats, this shouldn't have been a close game with 5 interceptions. I mean, it shouldn't have been close, but it was a 6-point game as time expired, and he was in the Bengals red zone. He wasn't on the opposite side. He was in his fixing to score. So it was a lot closer. As ugly as those stats are, Priest, the game was a lot closer than the stats show in this one.
Yeah, I'm just going to have to take y'all's word for it. But this Priest love that we're getting on Press Pass Live today is a little head-scratching. I mean, this guy's been a top 15 pick all of Madden 19. He's super disengaged just because I think he has a crazy work schedule. If I'm not mistaken, he's a chef, and so it is. And if I'll take you guys' words for it too, he probably plays in 75,000 leagues, so there's no telling how he keeps up. But this whole Priest is winning the division and almost beat the Bengals. I mean, I need to come drink with you guys because clearly I'm doing it wrong. Let's talk about the Atlanta Falcons as we keep this puppy rolling. The Atlanta Falcons, Tank-orific over here, has some things figured out this year. Of course, we all know he's going to have to wear this badge of tanking for a while now. I love D-Money, but man, he does some stuff that just like, really, dude, like this is what we're doing now. Like this is how we're going to do this. So, recently he cut Matt Ryan and then immediately goes and puts all his cash flow on Matt Ryan because he understands that he can take the cap hit this year. It'll reset in the offseason. Matt Ryan's on a 1-year deal as a free agency. He can go back into free agency. He's got a lot of money they can go into free agency with, and he still has a quarterback that he can continue to win with at 5-0, and I just want to eat my face off because I have to deal with this kind of stuff. But now that my rant about the Atlanta Falcons is over, he is red hot. All of this young talent is clearly came together and playing exceptionally well. Devontae Freeman is running the ball outstanding, averaging 6.1 yards a carry, 7 touchdowns on the year. Julio Jones is still getting it done. Calvin Ridley's playing amazing ball. Both of those guys, Calvin Ridley has 19, Julio 22. Calvin's over 300 yards. Julio right at 440. 5 touchdowns for Julio. And then that defense is just shut down good. I mean, he is 5th in points on offense. He is 14th in passing yards, 8th in rushing, or 14th in total yards, 8th in rushing yards. On defense, though, 1st in points, 7th in passing yards, and 14th in total yards. This whole team is playing exceptionally well. 5-0. So my question to you guys that I want to kind of break down and see who's going to stop these Atlanta Falcons from winning back-to-back championships here. Maniac, I'm throwing it over to you.
For me, there's only 2 guys I think right now in this league that can stop that, and it's D Wayne and Cincy. Tanker D is the name I gave him and stuff, so that's what I'm gonna refer him to. Tanker D. He is something else. I don't know how he does what he does with his roster and stuff, but I mean, it seems like he's just churning out some diamonds at every corner and stuff. I guess he went to the school of Mo and figured out how to fix some of these guys up and stuff. But at this point, I mean, he's just rolling over everybody right now. To me, the couple games that I watched and stuff is almost like he's just toying, like a cat toying with a mouse. He's just out there just kind of playing around, not really doing everything he can just to win the game. It's like, what's he doing that for? It's like he's just trying new plays out at the whim of whatever, but yet he just dominates the game. And but as it sits right now, like I said, the only 2 guys that can challenge this dude is going to be Cincy, and my money right now is on Dwayne. Dwayne's offense, I know he lost to the Jets, and I know the Jets played him basically a perfect game and stuff. But Dwayne just puts so much pressure on guys with that rushing attack, and Dwayne's he's more locked up than Fort Knox because he doesn't even turn the ball over half. Like last season, I think he only turned the ball over like 4 or 5 times for the whole entire season.
It's stupid.
Yeah.
For me.
We'll cuss it. We'll cuss about the Colts on another show.
But yeah, these 2 guys are the only ones right now that I see that can put up against Tanker D.
Mr. Dawson, what do you think?
Yeah, I think there's some solid teams out here that can compete with the Falcons. Even going back to the bowl, Cincy, that was a close game from what I can remember. I mean, it wasn't like a completely blowout on the Falcons side or anything. It was going back and forth, and I think the Falcons just got the edge at the end. So I mean, I think there's still some solid teams in here that can compete You got to put Seahawks up there. You got to put the Saints because they were consistently winning every season. I know you don't want to talk about the Saints, but like I said, you have made the playoffs. All the whole cycle. So we had to put your name in there. We had to put the Cowboys because they're consistently ruling the East right now on the whole cycle. And we got some new teams that are out there that are playing well. With the Panthers setting it, I think he's 4-1. He had a tough game in Week 1 with the Falcons. He gets his revenge later on this season, or he gets the opportunity to get his revenge. And then, of course, Cincy and the Bengals and Jets. I know we've been talking a lot about Jason, but just some tough opponents that I guess it takes time with the rosters out of the starting out. The way you shape your team and the way you prefer one player or the other, it does take more than just one season for some of us. Going back to the question, who's going to keep him from winning back to back? Kind of like Maniac said, there's only if I was a betting guy, which I like to think I am, I'm going to go with Dakota. And as far as at least on the AFC side, you can even add Cincy. Just the way they've been playing, consistently throughout the cycles. And on the NFC side, I'm going to go with Mo. If you look at a schedule with the Falcons, they do have a tough remaining schedule. Do I think they would go undefeated? No, because they play Week 11. They play the Washington Redskins, so that's a loss right there for the Falcons. Then they play in Week 16.
Time out. We got to pause here.
What's that?
Everybody laughs about your auto win, but you demolished me Week 1. So that just makes me get caught up in my emotions whenever you give me these flashbacks.
Well, if it makes it any better, I think you're my only.
I am your only win. Okay, you don't have to bring it up.
But so yeah, it's been rough couple of weeks for the Washington Redskins. And we did pretty good that Week 1, but going forward, we're just kind of been in a rough spot. But going back to the Falcons, like I said, they got a tough remaining schedule. And one thing that is on their side is their the players. If you look at their third quarterback, his man cover is 93 with 99 speed. So not very many teams have their third slot receiver or cornerback at 99 speed, 93 man. So, and Trufant McDuffie is import from last cycle, and then this could potentially be his import going to next cycle. The Keelan Powell that was 99 speed. So just some solid players he have for the secondary that can just take you away. But with all that being said, like I said, there are some potential solid teams that can keep him from winning back to back. It's going to be tough. We do the playoff prediction in the next couple of weeks, or I guess, when we do get in the playoffs. But yeah, I still see some solid teams that can compete and fight, at least knock off the Falcons.
And then the freaking Bills. Coach Gav, I love you, but what are you doing giving the Falcons a #1 pick? I hate you all. Oh my God. What is wrong with you people? There are just some people that you should just check off your list of people to not give a high first-round draft pick. The Falcons, the Seahawks, the Colts. These are teams you don't do that with, and you morons continue to do it. Jesus, shoot me, take the wheel, be a fence. God, what is wrong with you?
It's kind of like it's a catch-22 because we got these solid teams.
No,
and the reason they're solid
the
is
Bills do not have a solid team to go give a first-round pick to.
I'm sorry. No, what I'm saying is trading your first round to get a top player is mostly the top teams. They're winning consistently, so of course they got top players as backups and everything, and so you trying to get a piece of the pie and you trying to make that the right puzzle, and sometimes it just kind of in the end you're just confusing your own team. And because I've done it before, I kind of fed into the Cowboys roster. Like I said, I traded for Dak early in the cycle, and it just hit me. It kind of backfired completely because he got this franchise quarterback. I had to get rid of Dak because he wanted like $75 million. So it's a catch-22 because you want to get those top players, but then again, you just I don't know. It's kind of tough to I guess I do agree. There are players, owners that you kind of have to second guess and make sure you're doing the right decision and making the best decision for your team for the future. Because of course you don't want to give up your first round pick for a guy that you know that you're not going to be able to sign, that you're going to franchise tag, and that can potentially hurt your chances fighting into free agency. It's very many pieces that can go on, and so I guess that's just the catch as far as trying to find the right player and having to give up your first round pick.
Yeah.
In my defense, though, since I traded away my first, I was on cold medicine. So
this guy's got a 99 overall cornerback starting, a 95 overall cornerback starting, and his third round, his nickel cornerback is 90 overall. Jesus, take the wheel. All right, Deed Money, your turn. Who is going to take down the Atlanta Falcons?
Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate you comparing me to D Money. I do think there are some teams that are built to beat the Falcons. And I know we've kind of, talked about how deep the Falcons are, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Like you said, he probably has the best secondary in the league. Kind of reminds me of last cycle Seahawks in secondary when his bench players were better than most starters.
Did you just say bitch?
No. I didn't go to church this morning, but I didn't get that bad yet. But you do go through the teams, and just to touch on what Dawson was saying, I do think teams fall into that. You see the success from these teams, and you're like, I do want a piece of that pie. And I will say this now,
man, eat a pizza. I'm sick of this piece of the pie stuff.
I don't feel worthy enough to be thrown in the same category. I've only ever traded for got one first round pick in a trade. So let's just. But with that being said, I know Mo and ever start a business and needs salesmen. Those two guys are who I'm hiring.
Well, Mo does own his own business and is a salesman, so that does explain a lot.
And they just know how to work it, and it is hard seeing these guys get, like, say you look at D-Money, he just wins. The only time he does lose is when he wants to lose, and I think he barely loses then. And but seeing him with the top pick is really tough. But I can see both sides of the fence, as frustrating as I know that is to Nate. I can see both sides of the fence a little bit. But going back to the Falcons and who can beat them, I look at like the NFC. I marked 4 teams down, and that's not knocking any of the other teams. I was going to say the Packers, but I can already see you're already on the edge.
Oh, my God. If you say the Packers, I'm muting your mic the rest of the show.
He's going to melt like a pile of cheese.
Right. I have in his own division, I think the Saints and Panthers playing better than most teams do. Every game's always a close game. I think those are 2 teams he's got to compete with and that play him enough to know him. And I think you go to look at the Cowboys. I think the Cowboys have really asserted themselves. And I know Dawson hates hearing that as the NFC East just leader, and he's waiting for somebody. I mean, he's the guy everybody's trying to take down that division. He's a team that offensively I think can score money for money with D-Money. But I just look at the defensive side. Other than his user linebacker skills, I think that's where he lacks in taking down the Falcons team. If you go to the Seahawks, our team that defensively are just top-notch with everybody else in this league. I think he is one of the top defensive guys here. Offensively, though, he's lacking this year. I think he's in the bottom third in every offensive category. But we all know that you can't count Mo out in any given game. But I do think those teams in the NFC are teams that can compete with him. Don't use this as bulletin board material tonight when we play Mo. In the AFC, I think you got to look at the Bengals just right offhand. I think the Bengals are one of the most explosive teams, even with his offense kind of taking a step back this season. I still think he's dangerous on any given day. And like I said, he's another one who he uses that any position he uses just kind of locks down a part of the field. And I think that if you're good enough in that aspect, you make 1 or 2 plays in a game, it can really shift that game. And that's why I do think that that's a team that can take the Falcons down. I go down to the Patriots. I think the Patriots are one of the best defensive teams here. He plays so good, and there's nothing really exotic about what he does. He runs the ball. He plays really conservative with the ball, and he plays really good defense. I think that's a perfect recipe against the Falcons. And my last team is going to be the Jets, and I say the Jets because of how well I played him this year, and I just know it's a different change in what the Jets are doing this year. He's really took pride in defensively stopping the ball, stopping the run, making you pass the ball, which I think is a perfect recipe for success against most teams, and hoping you make mistakes. And on offense, he's run the ball better than I've seen him run the ball all cycle. He's run the ball well. He's taken care of it, and he's got Roddy Anderson playing like an all-star. He had 3 touchdowns in our game against each other. A fast guy who really is taking more of a possession role in that offense. And I think just the way he sets up his offense is grind it out, trying to turn it over, and then he plays such good defense to where, like I said, he takes away the run. I think it's a recipe to beat the Falcons. And the number one person who can beat the Falcons is the Falcons. I think him taking a chance with the 76 overall quarterback this year, I think he's really taking a chance with all the weapons he's got. You just hate coming down to it. And as great of a user he is, come down with a 76 overall quarterback. And if you kind of go through his roster, he does have some holes in his roster, especially look on the defensive line. He's on the weaker side, as great as he is in the secondary. And you just kind of look at that team and hope that maybe you can run the ball against him and those cornerbacks don't matter.
Yep, he's got it all. Mr. Maniac, what do you think about the Falcons? Can anybody take them down?
Well, I think you started off with me, but
oh, did I? Did we go full circle?
We went full circle.
Holy cow! Am I drinking too? What is wrong with y'all? Got me so fired up that I can't even focus here. This damn Packers talk. I just can't get over y'all today. All right, let's talk about the Jets. Mr. Cly, one of my favorite people here. He does play some shooters with us. Hilarious guy. I love Jason. I'm a big fan of his, and he's finally got some things figured out with these New York Jets. He's been over there for. Did he go over there in Mad 19, or was he over there before that?
The start of the cycle.
Yeah, so he goes over there in Man 19. Definitely a rebuild job. He had some nice pieces with Sam Darnold and some other things to work with. But, man, he's finally got turned the corner with this team. 85 overall. He's sitting at 4-1. He's got a really, really good team here. He's 9th in points on offense, 6th in total yards, 10th in passing, 2nd in rushing. On defense, he's 18th in points, 6th in total yards, and 10th in rushing yards allowed. So let's talk about the Jets. And I'm going to throw this one over to Dwayne to kick us off. Can he sustain this success? And where has this success came from in season 83?
Well, I think what I touched on it when we talked about him being a team that can knock the Falcons off. I think his success first starts that he's run the ball really well this year. He's averaging 162 yards a game so far this season. Ajayi and Livings they're both averaging 5.5 and 6.5 carries a game. That's a recipe of success just to start off with. Sam Darnold is having a solid year. He started off 10 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. A 2-to-1 touchdown interception ratio is nothing to scoff at. He's a 105 QB rating. He's being very efficient this year, and like I said, Roddy Anderson is 500 yards receiving, 5 touchdowns. He's got Josh Gordon, C.J. McCaffrey, Quincy Enunwa, guys that are just – he's got a really good wide receiver course, and he's got the best interior offensive line I've seen in the league. I think he's got Travis Frederick. I can't remember right offhand. I hate feeling like I'm.
Oh no, he's got that. Yeah, that young. I don't know if he was an import or a rookie. That dude's like a 95 overall. Made the Pro Bowl last year. He's a stud.
Yeah, Will Harrelson,
that's
left guard. Travis Frederick center, and then London Norwood, who is 90 overall, but he's just a beast. I mean, you're talking about guys. He got 3 guys with 95 strength or more on the interior of the offensive line, and he will make you pay running up the middle against those guys. You better have some hog mollies to play against it. And I think that's a recipe for success. And I think in that division, you can't really say that he plays in a weak division. The Bills have played a lot better. The Patriots are a perennial playoff team. And Kevin, last year, I want to say Kevin, I know the year before he made the AFC Championship. I know last year's in the playoffs. I can't remember if he made the AFC Championship or not. But he plays in a division that's really tough. So he doesn't get an easy scapegoat. We didn't hit an easy division either. I think he just played so far this season. Like I said, he's running the ball well. Defensively, nothing just stands out at you. He's kind of middle of the pack through a lot of the stuff. But he just puts so much pressure. I'll take some words from what Maniac said. He puts so much pressure on you running the ball real strong. He's not giving you short fields. And defensively, he's almost playing a bend but don't break. He's giving up, like I said, against me. He gave up field goal after field goal. And field goals don't win games when the other team's scoring touchdown. So I think he's got a good recipe here, and I think he's only going to build on it from here. And I think we've said this from the start, that a team that can, you build the offensive line out, especially those interior offensive line guys, I think he's got a great thing. And like I said, this offseason, I think he's only going to reload. He's got the highest paid player on his team, and I doubt Josh Gordon comes back at $21 million. So I think the Jets only get better from here.
I like spicy homemade hog mollies made with that cornmeal stuff. It was good stuff. And look, I didn't even know Josh Gordon was still in this freaking league, and he's over here winning with Josh Gordon. Let's throw it over to Maniac. What do you think about the Jets? How are they going to sustain the success? Oh wait, did I lose everybody?
No,
Or, oh,
I'm here. Maniac.
did we lose Maniac? We lost Maniac. Where'd
Maybe he stepped
Maniac
out.
go? Did he die? Did somebody give him too strong of a drink?
I'm back.
He's back.
Oh,
He's
there he
back.
is.
All right, now we got Maniac.
My mic dropped for whatever reason. I don't know what.
You were
but
probably so shocked that Josh Gordon is still in this league that your
I
mic
think that's what
just
it was.
fell off
Josh,
your
old
head.
man Gordon, still tearing it up in New York with the Jets. No, and a little bit there what Dwayne was saying about the Jets and stuff, and I really feel like that his success is around his rushing attack. I'm basically going to agree with Dwayne a lot because it's just, I mean, he's putting up 27 points per game. That's ninth in the league. 393 yards a game. It's sixth right now. I mean, you're talking almost 400 yards a game, and he's just sixth in this league. But solid numbers on the offensive side, and on defense, he's not like just super like spectacular or anything, but he's middle of the pack. He's able to keep everything in front of him. He long plays. I know he plays he gave up to I think Chaotic in their game that they had and stuff, but that game just didn't Jets and Browns game for that matter. It just seemed like that was kind of an anomaly. But like I said, he's middle of the pack on defense, so he's at least stopping most everything he's got. He's not just hamming it up on defense. And with the offense that's ranking in the top 10 in every category right now, it just breeds success for his team, and his roster he's built that roster really to fit his style of football. I know his offensive line is massive. His defensive line is really solid, and I believe he just made a safety. Then he's moving one of his players. I thought maybe I'm thinking about somebody else. I want to say I think he just made a trade for a new safety, and he's going to move one of his safeties down to corner, possibly. But I mean, he's drafted well, and when you're good at all phases of the game like that, when your offense is clicking, you've drafted well, you got good players on your roster right now. Looking on his roster, he's just got quick star, superstar, all up and down his roster. So when you got guys like that, and consistently building those guys forward and stuff, he's going to have success, and it's showing in this season right now. I mean, 4-1 and dominating like he has been really well with especially his rushing attack. We're going to see him in the playoffs unless some major injuries happen to his team.
Yep, I agree with you. I think we will see Jason in the playoffs. Mr. Dawson, what are your thoughts about these New York Jets and Jason?
Yeah, I agree with Dakota and Maniac. I do see him to continue his success. It's going to be tough for his opponents in the East, AFC East, to I guess knock him off. He is setting at 1-0 in division play, so he's still got 5 tough games. He's still got to play the Patriots twice, I think Bills maybe twice, yes, and then the Dolphins again. So he does got some tough opponents throughout the season. I wouldn't be surprised.
Come on, man, really?
If he
Smash. I think you're unmuted, my friend. So you might want to mute yourself for us.
but yes, I do
Smash
see him
is
continue.
Smash is really into whatever it is he's playing or watching.
Yeah, so I guess maybe he's playing his OMFL game, but anyway, I do see him. Like he said, I think the biggest re-sign he has to do this year is Sam Darnold. I think he wants 5 years, so he can always just franchise tag him if he has that money. I think it's like $24 million. So let's hope. I guess he needs to hope that he should have enough cap space for that. Been making a few roster moves the last few seasons. He got Travis Frederick a couple seasons ago. He has an import, and then he drafted a solid offensive line. So he has things clicking, and I do see him continue his success throughout the season. And like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't take the division. or he gets one of those wild card spots this season.
And we made the assumption that Smash was excited about his OMFL game or maybe watching one, but maybe he's just that passionate about what Dawson was saying about the New York Jets. I mean, we shouldn't make that assumption. So that's going to bring us to our last section, and that is our owner-submitted questions. I got a little reminder out this morning to a few people. And I love how the very first question comes from our buddy Dawson, so I'm going to let him ask his own one. But what I love about this question...
That was from last question. That was already used.
Oh,
I mean,
did
we
we
can talk
use
about
it?
it again.
Oh, that's right. We did use it. No, I don't want to... I guess what I found funny about it is like this was edited 4 weeks ago 3 different times by Dawson, so he truly was like getting
like
into...
I did have 2 questions, and that last one was sponsored by Seagrams, and I had to delete that. It just did not make any sense, and it was. There's only one question. I guess I asked it last podcast.
Yeah, and I think my answer was yes. If somebody is crashing on you, I mean, look, don't go crazy with it, but yes, you can play action a little bit more. All right, let's jump over to Jennings' question. He says, what is the number one feature that you'd like to see added to the CFM in Madden next year? I think this is a really great question. I know what my answer is going to be, and it's probably not going to be what most people would expect, but let me throw it over to Mr. Maniac. We're going to start with you. What do you think your number one feature in Madden CFM that you'd like to see? I know that you don't have any thoughts about this as an ex-game changer, Mr. Go find every freaking flaw and wrong thing on the game. So please, if you can create something, what do you think it would be?
Well, my number one thing, and probably if I was given enough time, I could probably list about 20 different things, but right now, just off the top of my head, though, is something that would be very useful in the CFM is basically pick back up where you left off in your game if you have a disconnect. I think that would be very useful, helpful, because we've had so many disconnects. You're in the third quarter, not with our rules that we could call it, and it just makes for an ugly experience for both owners. And I've been there on both sides. I've had the drop, and I've been on the other side of the drop, and then having a momentum in the game only to go into the next game and just get totally wiped out. It just kind of, why couldn't we just pick back up where we started from? And I think that would be probably something that a lot of CFM commish would love to have in their CFM.
Mr. Dawson, what do you think? What would you like to see added to the CFM?
Well, I think maybe even James was the one that mentioned this a couple of days ago, was restructured contracts.
Mm-hmm.
I think that would be kind of pretty cool. I think it had it in the past. I could be wrong, though. Another one is like giving the rookies or players a contract extension before their remaining contract is up. I think that may be, I guess, I don't know. I'm just throwing ideas out. Like Maniac said, you probably sit down and think of like a top 10 or top 20 list. Can't really think of anything offhand. Maybe once y'all throw y'all's ideas out, I'm sure enough I'll agree with him. But offhand, I really can't think of anything other than, I guess, the restructured contracts and we've already got. I guess you can't really do anything with the. I do like the draft class edits that you can do this cycle compared to last one, but
crap. You ever hear somebody say something that reminds you that you forgot to do something? Yeah, you saying that
Tweet.
I never edited the draft class. I mean, it's not a big deal. I'm gonna have to go back and do it, and hopefully I can still do it right now. But oh my God, you just reminded me of that.
It was time. It was right before the draft where it kind of. You can still edit it, so I think you can. But overall, like I said, I do like that addition to it. I know telling what they have planned, because of course they kind of focus more on MUT now, and because that's where the money is. But that's another topic, and I guess another day.
Well, don't let me forget to go and edit this draft class. And look, restructured contracts make me nervous just because I could see how that would be abused. And, because of the way we do our free agent system here, like I don't know that I love that idea, but I do love the idea of in-depth contracts, right? Like we used to back in the past, like players would hold out when they felt like they weren't getting paid enough, right? And so just randomly, and you're like 2 of 5, they would be a holdout, and you'd have to try to re-sign them, or they would demand a trade, right? Like, I'd like to see random things like that be added. I think it would just add some more flair. Mr. Dwayne, what do you think you'd like to see added to the CFM?
Well, it's funny how you said that last part. NBA 2, and that's another system right there that does the the mud. They do their my team thing, but still dedicate a lot of time to their franchise. So I hate giving EA an out because they do choose the mud system to go to. But I do like on the 2K game itself that you do have the player morale, and kind of like you said, the players get upset if they don't have enough playing time, if they don't get enough money, or they ask for trades. And I could see the problems with that, because especially my first season, when my star player doesn't want to play for me no more or gets mad, I could see where people be upset with that. But I do think it would be an interesting thing to it. Kind of like you said, it would be something that you have some randomness to it, and would it bring some excitement and throw a little curveball in there on just the normal, like you said, just the normal. There's no really basis. The players just don't. They don't. There's no personality to them, I guess you say.
Yeah.
And I know it's harder looking on that one, because in an NBA game you have 15 players in your team. It's probably a lot easier to manage 15 players than 53 plus a 10-man practice squad. But I would like some kind of player to coach system, kind of like the NBA 2K games do.
Yeah, I as a Pelicans fan, I hear your pain that your star player doesn't want to be there anymore, but go trade him and get something for it and suck it up and be a big boy. I think my one addition, and these are all really great additions, and I think they would really tremendously help CFM, but my I think it's easy to get caught up in the things that the game doesn't have, right? And I think even if they added all these really great ideas that you guys had, people would still find something to complain about. We're never going to be handed a perfect game. It's just not what it is. And right, people, that old saying, hindsight is 20/20. People view the past much better than it probably was in reality, and so it's easy to look back and talk about how great 2K 2007 was, how great Madden, my favorite games, Madden 01, Madden 02, right? Like, it's easy to look back in hindsight and say, oh, those were really amazing games, when the reality is they very much had their own flaws as well. So my one addition that would go towards player engagement and keeping owners engaged. I think the more that owners are engaged, the more that they will invest. The more that they invest, the more great the play, the more great the engagement, the more smack talk, like all of that stuff. You get more engagement, and so your league is much better. So the one addition I would like to personally see is the ability that we used to have in PC days, where you could export your roster and play games offline against somebody else. When I say offline, I don't mean like off internet. I just mean like out of CFM. So you could, for our toilet bowl games, or if you just want to practice with your team, you could hook up with Dawson. Dawson could use his OMFL team that he exported. I could use my Saints team that I exported, and we could play an online game out of CFM against each other. And when we used to have that ability, the engagement was just so much more, right? A lot of people don't play practice games because you don't have your team, and so you don't really get the practice that you're looking for, and this would add that ability back. I think players would play better, CFM would be more engaged, and I think that FPR would be much better, because guys would actually go practice and work on their FPR issues. So I would like to see the ability to add exporting of their teams out. Mr. D Money says, how many more seasons? Go ahead, Maniac. I didn't want to cut you off.
No, I was just going to say I like that idea, because when a player's engaged and stuff, it brings more to the table.
Yeah.
They're more apt to put more out in the CFM than just take. So I like that.
I agree with you. And you guys had great ideas too. I think a more in-depth contract system of some sort would be a whole lot of fun to have as well. Let's go to D Money. He says, how many more seasons do you think that we'll be getting in? How many more would you like? I'm not going to take that one, D Money, just because the math does this. It's up to the owners, and the math figures it out. How many more that we would like? I don't know. I don't know that that's a real discussion question now that we're an hour deep, but I do like your next one. He says, after close to 3.5 seasons, which guys stand out to you as doing the best jobs in building their teams via trades, free agency, draft, player progression, etc.? So what do you guys think? Who so far in season 83, we started in season 79, or no, season 80 was our first season, so this is season 83. Who do you guys think has done the best job of rebuilding their teams via all the systems that we have? We're going to throw this one over to Dawson.
Well, I mean, obviously, I guess you can probably put the Colts up there, just the way he makes those trades, and he doesn't. I don't really. I guess you could say he doesn't really participate in the draft. I guess for the first part of the draft, because you always have the 5th, 6th, 7th round picks. But I think you prefer to fill your roster out with trades and the free agency. Then you got guys like Cowboys and Seahawks that prefer to fill the roster up with the draft and trades. So it's a mix. I think realistically, I mean, I guess going back to what we've been talking about is Jason the Jets. He's made those trades throughout the cycle. I think he traded for Travis Frederick a couple of seasons ago. He brought in his import, so he knew what he was going to do with that, or he just didn't know who to bring in, so he just got a safe import. So it's always a good, you always bring in an offensive lineman. I know they don't really get a lot of attention, but you need them to win. So, but that's I guess any sport or NFL and OMFL. So I think right now my bet will be the Jets, just because the way they played, the way that roster was starting out, and where they stand right now. Again, like I said, you can throw the Colts in there. You can probably even throw the Cowboys in there, just the way they're consistently building every season, which it irks me for him to see at the top every season. But I mean, nonetheless, the way his style is, making those trades, making those draft picks, he's been at the top as well. But my go-to vote right now will be the Jets.
Dwayne, who is it for you, buddy?
I would like to make a joke here that, the Bengals technically it was 18 years since they made the playoffs. So Cincy really got them over the hump when they made the playoffs. But I think you got to look at, like Dawson kind of broke it down real well. And there's different ways guys prefer to build their teams. Some guys really thrive through the draft. Some guys like to trade, get guys early in the cycle and play out the cycle with those guys. You really can't take it away from, somebody like the Falcons or Seahawks, who are teams that just continuously, I hate to say build, but they do work their way into having rookies and star players on both sides. But I think you gotta look at a team, and like I said, the Jets are a team that weren't real great in real life, and he's turned them into, especially at the start of the cycle, weren't real great, and he turned them into a playoff caliber team, and a team who trying to think of the word, just a team that could compete realistically for the AFC Championship this year. But I think you have to go down to somebody like, I'm trying to think of somebody right offhand, because there is a few teams that come out to me as guys that were, kind of stuck with not real great teams. I mean, you look at somebody like the Bills. I'll say the Bills are a team who it's a rough team to come out of the box with, a really rough team to come out of the box with, and you're just kind of stuck. I always said my last couple cycles, it's a lot easier starting the cycle as a Falcons, not taking anything away from D-Money. It's easier starting off with a team like the Falcons. You have trade pieces. You have young guys. So then you got to look at teams that, like I said, the Bills. I'm trying to think of some teams. The Browns are a team who's young. That's a guy who I would like to look at right there. Is the Browns are a team that weren't real good. I mean, yes, they had some young pieces, some young core players, but he plays in a very unforgiving division, a division that doesn't spare you any time to build, because you've got to compete day one with Cincyberg and Jennings with the Steelers, who's come out on fire this season right here. And then you look at the Puerto Rican Nipple and the Ravens. That's a tough that's a tough division to kind of grow in, and I think Chaotix has did a real good job with the Browns. He's pretty much been a 500 team these last few seasons, and has pretty much been a game away from making the playoffs, and I think he's came out of the box strong this season too. And he builds through the draft. He makes a few trades, but he builds through the draft the right way. He doesn't overspend in free agency. He spends reasonably in free agency. You know, he doesn't drop $40 million on a quarterback. I think you got to look at the Browns as a model of a team of how you should build a team, and I think that he builds in the right way. And if it was up to me, I think he's shown the most progression from a team. I think the first year here of this cycle, I think he only won 3 or 4 games. Up until now, he's knocking on the door 8, 9, 10 wins. I think you got to give Chaotix credit there.
I thought you were going to name every team in the AFC there for a second. Mr. Maniac, who's done it for you?
An underrated team I would say is Double Null and the Lions. He seems to always put up together a really solid core roster. I don't know. You know, maybe there's probably not very many people that would feel that way and stuff. But I mean, he always the Lions usually their roster top to bottom is usually not very good at all, and he needs to put a really solid roster together. Even though he struggles with them, you'll look at his roster and he'll usually have drafted a really solid quarterback. He'll usually have really good running backs, wide receivers. On the defensive side, he'll be loaded, and but just for whatever reason, he just can't seem to get things going. So he would be kind of an under the radar mention and stuff. But for me, the overall work and seeing where his roster came from, and that would be the coach from the Bills. I can't think of his name either. He's always changing it.
Josh, yeah.
But he starts out, the Bills, their roster is just plain simple. They just suck bad.
Yeah.
And he comes in and he just gets down to the nit and gritty and to figuring out what he needs to change, and he makes trades and he gets in the draft. He really studies the draft, and now you look at the season, he's competing, and he's got a solid core roster, and you look no further than his front seven on his offensive line. Got a lot of young pieces, a lot of little young studs. He's got a young solid quarterback that's got some wheels, and he can also throw the ball, sling the ball around the field. And then he's got this last draft, he picked up Knox, the wide receiver. He's he's almost kind of like a Tyreek Hill knockoff in a way. He's kind of built the same way and stuff. But he's been lighting up the passing with that guy and stuff. And then he's made several key trades, trading away pieces and then bringing in pieces and stuff. So if I have to give the trophy to somebody right now, it would have to be.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go you guys named a bunch of teams that are definitely need to be mentioned, right? The Ravens, the Browns, the 49ers before Big Hurt left, right? That was not a very good team that he took over. Had a lot of young talent, but, I mean, they were not winning on the field. But my mind kind of goes to 2 areas, kind of an honorable mention in Outlaw and his Texans. I know that wasn't a terrible team, but it definitely didn't have all the pieces, right? Had a few pieces here and there, but he's really invested heavy into that defense, and he's really rebuilt it. I know he hasn't quite gotten over that hump. He's not, look, he's like me. He's never going to be a top, 5 player in this league, but I do think that Outlaw is going to push for the playoffs. If he doesn't get it turned around this season, in the next season for sure, because he is investing. You got to give it to props. Like, he is taking his lumps over his years here in the OMFL, and he's learned how to draft much, much better. But the team that's really outside of the box that people are going to be like, really? I'm going to say the team I think that's – look, I should also mention the Falcons. That goes unsaid. Like, right? Like, we got to give it to him. He took a really good team and made it a really great team, but the tank has tainted that, and it just always will. It will leave a sour taste in a lot of people's mouth because none of us like how he did it, and I think people would have respected it if he had done it in a different way. So get that one out of the way. I'm going to go with the Patriots. No Comp has always been a winner in this league, always been one of the top seeds in the AFC, always, either won his division or pushed for his division. I don't think he's missed the playoffs since joining here, and he took over a very old team. And a little bit like Dwayne does, right? He just builds that team, putting pieces in place that he needs to add and continues to win. And that roster has not fallen apart yet. And I think if I would have had them, I would have needed a year or two to completely rebuild because that team was so old. And I think that you got to tip your hat to him that he's done it the right way by really not missing a beat there and just continuing to play really amazing football, even though he had to rebuild his roster. All right, let's move over to Outlaw. The last question for the day. He says, do you want Madden 20 to have the same progression system? So do you like the progression system, and do you want Madden 20 to have the same one? I'm going to throw it over to the guy that has very little to say about Madden and the flaws in it. Mr. Maniac, why don't you take this one to start us off?
I definitely like how the progression system was this year. The last, it was a lot more random, and it just seemed like that with the way the players built and stuff, it's a little bit more realistic, as a guy, in real life, as a guy grows in years, they gain awareness and of things on and up, and so this kind of forced guys, like before, guys would just load up everything. You'd put everything on block shed, and you put it whatever, and then everything else was just like, into it and stuff. And so they've kind of, EA kind of made the other attributes matter per player. I would maybe like to see them expand a little bit more attributes and stuff going into this next season or this next Madden. I think there is some things that they could do to enhance it, and maybe even tied in with like something like through the combine, having workouts and stuff. Again, this kind of goes to add to CFM to make things where guys are more involved in the game and stuff, and tied into that. But overall, I hope they continue to use this progression system into the next game, but expand on it.
I think it's a really good one. What do you think, Mr. Dawson?
Yeah, I think I like it. I think it can be modified or I guess improved on. We're seeing the draft, I think last cycle and even this cycle, tight ends, they're not very good. They're slow, they can't block, they can't catch. And like Maniac kind of brought up one time, was like some of these tall receivers, slow receivers, somehow add on weight and make them into a vertical threat tight end or whatever, like you see every once in a while in the draft. I think there's one guy, Dakota, I can't think of his name. I think it was Demetrius Harris from the Chiefs. Yeah, he was a basketball player, and he's moved to tight end. So, I mean, you see a lot of those happen nowadays. I like it compared to what we did last year, where everybody just threw their XP on those certain what we knew the attributes were. Some guys have been lucky this cycle as far as getting those dice rolls of speed and acceleration. I think myself included, I got a few a good, not very many, but I did get a few on a few players. I think mostly it was all backup too, so it didn't really work, made a difference. But overall, I like it, and I just hope that it's not one of those little, something that Madden kind of don't really put any focus on and try to improve it going to the next Madden 20.
Yeah, just don't mess it up, EA. Dwayne, what do you think about the new progression system?
I think the progression system is good. I do like the randomness of it. I think both guys have touched on that. As we've seen last cycle, and I'm not knocking anybody that did it. You put it to where you thought it needed to be at, or where we was proven it needed to be at. I do like the randomness of it. I do kind of like, as they get older, it takes a little bit longer. But your young guys, especially, and this is the only part I don't like. I feel like if he is a normal dev guy, they're kind of stuck in the mud, for a little while longer. But and that's part of it. But I do like that, a young guy. And I'll use my guy as an example. I've had 21 or 20-year-old rookies that, you know, it takes 4,000 or 5,000 XP to do it. And if they're actually getting playing time and you're focus training that position, that they can grow as a player.
Yeah.
Now the only knock I ever have, and it's not even against the progression, because I like the way that the progression is set up, is the regression. I've still hated, and everybody knows I have a soft spot in my heart for older real life players. And I hate seeing them drop off the edge of the earth. And this cycle wasn't as bad as last cycle. You know, last Madden, when they got 30-31, it was 30, 40 skill points every year they lose. And I will say, seeing some older guys lose 7 points or 10 points, I feel a lot better seeing that. But I still hate seeing, you know, and like I said, a regression prevention that we give here helps a lot. It helps a lot. And but I do hate seeing the older guys just drop off the edge of the earth, especially at certain positions. You know, quarterback can last a little bit longer than some, but you go to receiver, and you know, I'll use Maniac's guy. If you took a speed away from Tyreek Hill, what is Tyreek Hill?
Yeah,
and like he just drops off the edge of the earth. I mean, there's a lot of receivers here that 5'8", 160 pounds, and when they go below 92 speed, you might as well not have them anymore. And that's where I hate seeing, you know, just complete drop off. And I know has to be a happy medium there. And I know that I'm probably more passionate than most because I like to see Connor Barwin still relevant, RIP in our Madden. But that's the only knock I have on it, because I love the system itself. Is just a slight, you know, maybe don't make my old guys die in Madden so fast.
Yeah, I agree. I love the system. I love the randomness. I don't like focus training. I'm probably one of the few that doesn't like the focus training. I wish that your weekly trainings were already picked for you. Like, it was based on the game plan. I think when you mix focus training with the fact that you can just pick the same, like if you're focus training offensive lineman, you can just pick a weekly training that also gives a bonus to offensive linemen. Do that for an entire season, and you're really pouring into your offensive linemen. So I'd like to see that tweaked a little bit, but I do love the randomness of the progression system. I'm a big fan of it. I just think it needs a few more tweaks here and there to get it just right. Because I think they're definitely on the right track and headed in the right direction. So it's going to bring us to the end of our show. So now I'm going to give you, if you've never watched the show, I'm going to say these two things because I did get some PMs that I need to answer. D-Money's watching the show or was watching the show. A lot of what I say is to be entertaining. Like if all four of us like agreed with each other and said the same crap over and over, like this would get really, really boring really, really fast. And so a lot of times, holy cow, I just seen a golfer hit it into the golf stand and hit a lady in the face and she's holding it. That is amazing. Is that I don't even know how you play it. Do you get to bounce it off of her head and hope it hits the green? I don't even know how that's played. But anyway, so yeah, a lot of stuff that I say is just to be entertaining, unless I'm talking about the Falcons, and I'm being 100% real. But no, let's if you've never watched the show, you can clearly see we don't stick to our agenda, which is supposed to be 2 minutes per answer. That's 20 minutes in a lot of our eyes. So we just kind of roll with the punches and have fun and try to give you some good stuff here. So 2 minutes each, a rant on any subject that you want to talk about. Give us your closing thoughts as we get to land this plane. We're going to throw it to D-Wayne. Bring us home.
Okay, well, we got 2 minutes, so I can really ramble on for 2 minutes. Staying out of the chat during the games was something that we still try to reiterate. You know, everything. You know, I know it's frustrating some games. Just find you a buddy like Dakota or Maniac and just bitch at them the whole time while you're playing in their inbox.
Yes.
It's not your opponent's inbox, though. And leave your feedback forms, guys. Schedule so that Bill doesn't strangle us while wanting to strangle y'all. But no, I really don't have any complaints. I thought our season really well. Some feedback. We haven't had, to me, this year's feedback forms have been better than last year's. And so I honestly don't have a lot of complaints about a lot of it. And I think we have a really good group of guys here. This is the part where Nate say, I'm patting everybody on the back, but we do have a really good group of guys here. And I don't think they need to be managed as much as we've seen some groups in the past.
No, you can pat guys on the back. I agree with you 100%. I will have one complaint, though, and that's the hamsters for your internet. They need to run a little bit faster because you keep cutting out with us today. I'm going to throw it over to Maniac. Maniac, give us your 2-minute rant and anything you want to talk about. Give us your closing thoughts.
Well, my 2-minute rant about only having 2 minutes. No, I'm just no. I think well, I'm not really going to rant. I think everything have been doing really good with the feedback and stuff. And yes, my PMs are always open, so definitely I may PM you back though. So just be aware. Uh, no, but uh, really, I mean, true, honestly, and stuff. I think the season's going that guys seem to be in. I know we have a few that's not, but if you find yourself slacking a little bit, pick it up. Get involved, with the league and stuff. And I'll put a little shameless plug. Ball fantasy football has been going really well. Get your weeks in. I think we only had like week 4 in, so we need week 4. Week 5 already started, or actually weeks. So, but anyway, it's going good, and hopefully we'll have a out maybe later on tomorrow or something that shows where we're at currently.
I love the fantasy football, and it is easy to do, and I just did mine today to catch us up to where we are. I would love to see us get to a point where we have like a fantasy football draft and like a real draft instead of guys just kind of picking what they, any player, and we could all pick the same players. But I love what Maniac's doing with it, and it's a whole ton of fun. Mr. Dawson, you're going to bring us home. Give us your 2-minute rant and closing thoughts.
Yeah, I don't really have, I guess, not a big rant or anything. The only FPR thing I see is the safeties crashing. And I don't know if that's mainly because guys are just holding L1 and the play rec and the awareness of the player can read it that quick and can go, crash that quick. I don't know. I really don't know how we can manage that, but just kind of be aware of that and I guess and so forth from that. But my plug is the goal sheet. I did change up the prizes, the I guess the incentives to kind of match the fantasy football incentives. And there are 4 incentives that you get to choose from, but just be aware there's still only 3 winners. So nice. There's not a 4th place. 4th place gets nothing. No participation tokens.
It's like psych.
So it's more of a, I guess it gives an option for the winner to pick what they really want. And of course, we're trying to see how far this dev trait increase will take a player. And so I do want to kind of limit, at least this season, or maybe even go into the next season, where you can't double stat. You can't win it for fantasy, and then you win it for goal sheet, and then you have 2 dev trait increases, and then you can throw that on 2 players and blah blah blah. So overall, I do. I hope we are is more active than compared to last season. I think last season a lot of people kind of lost the money early, and then the ones that are don't really play it. Don't really play at all. We do have 2 owners. I do want to point out the Outlaw and Priest. They kind of put some money in there. We got the normal owners that actually bid and everything. Sometimes it's just not for the owner, or they just don't have time to place the bet. But I mean, if you have any questions about it, just message me, and I can try to answer the best way I can. When I first did this, I didn't know what over under and all that was, so. It's kind of easy once you kind of understand it. But again, if you have any questions, just message me.
If I'm one of the guys that accidentally placed a bet, I don't think I did, on a game that was already played, please let me know, because I've been so busy it's hard to keep up. I will also say, to answer kind of one of your things, you and I have been talking about this in PM, I think it is really hard. As a guy who's 95% user safety, I rarely play any other position. I've kind of made my bread and butter as a user safety. When you see me play, probably 90% of the time I'm holding L1 for most of that play until I think I know where the play's going, and then I'm letting go of L1 and I'm getting there. Mainly because I don't want to get burnt deep and I don't want to take my guy out of position. So anytime you would play me and you see the safeties crashing, which I have seen, right? I've seen as soon as the snap of the ball, my user safety holding L1 is coming to the line of scrimmage. Yeah. So I know it does happen, and I don't know that there's anything we can do about it outside of, if you know a guy like me, right? When you play me, most of the time I'm going to be playing my strong safety. So, run to the opposite direction, try to catch me in counters, try to catch me in plays that will pull me out of position. look, guys, we are asking that you do not crash if you're using, but we also understand if you're holding L1, it will automatically do it. I was playing the Bucks today, and he had a long bomb, and as soon as he caught it, he spun move, scored a touchdown, and I was freaking ranting like a madman on my stream. And he messaged me, and he's like, I didn't touch a button. He's like, it did it automatically. So this game does do weird stuff, and it is the game that we have, but it is frustrating. And I think where it becomes really frustrating is when you see the crash, and then if you're not crashing, you're 8 in the box, 1 safety high. So just try to work on those things, guys, and keep it on the fair play, even playing field that we're trying to get to. I think my 2-minute rant is really just going to be great job around getting that FPR in. If you want to know what is expected, how to turn in feedback that needs to be watched, then you need to go talk to Dawson. Remember, if your feedback is a 3 or less, we go watch that film. If it's a 4, I just mark it as like a warning, and if I see like 2 or 3 things where guys gave 4s about the same exact thing on the same owner, then I'll go talk to the guy. But if it's a 3, we watch the film, and Dawson does it perfectly. He gives me timestamps. I can watch Dawson's film in less than 6 minutes. Like, I can just pull up the timestamps and read what I got. And I know not everything timestamps, but you guys need to get us those timestamps. You need to invest in your own game film as much as you possibly can, because it's killing these board members. And we haven't had that many this year. I haven't had to beg a ton of people to watch, because a lot of you are turning in that feedback with the timestamps, but continue to do that. Everything else is going really, really well. I will make an official announcement as we wrap up the show here. We are officially partnering with Overtime Heroics. So overtimeheroics.com. You'll see an announcement on Twitter later tonight. And this just means that we're going to put their link on our website. We're going to start promoting their stuff on Twitter. They're going to come join some of our shows. We're going to join some of their shows. We're going to try to help them build up their gaming section of their website. And they're going to kind of advertise for us and help push guys towards us. So Overtime Heroics, if you're into sports and you like to talk sports, make sure you go over there, support those guys and what they're doing, and create you a login and start talking some sports over there. So that's an official thing that we're going to announce today, and it's going to be up and ready to go. Everything else is normal. You can follow us on Daddy Leagues, daddyleagues.com /OMFL. Of course, our website, grownfolksoc.com. Tons and tons of content. I guess the Falcons had a free hour the other day and put up like 7 articles back to back. So there's so much good stuff. Make sure you go read that. Of course, our website, or Twitter, I should say, twitter.com /grownfolksoc. Tons of content that's going to be on there. Our YouTube channel, youtube.com /C /Grown Folks Online Community. So you can see all of our YouTube videos. A lot of PUBG is going to be there, our Press Pass Lives, a ton of Madden games. And I'm really, really pushing this. Dawson, you used to play with us, but I'm begging that this community supports something that we do. We create these wrestling shows. We have a wrestling league, and we play competitive matches with rules. So very similar to Madden. But we also tell stories like a normal wrestling league, and we put it all together into a show. It's got a lot of production that we've added to it. It's actually really, really good. Dawson, I don't know if you get to keep up with them anymore, but it's really changed over the past 6, 7, 8 months that WWE 2K19 has been out, and it's really, really good. I'm just asking that you guys support it if you can. If you're bored, you want it to be entertained, we'd love to hear your feedback. What part of the shows entertain you? What bored you? What you like about the show? What you not like about the show? So that we can continue to not only do better, but grow our shows, because new people who are looking for a league, when they go watch our shows and sees that it has like 8 views, they're probably going to think we don't know what we're doing, and they're not going to watch it. But we have over 100 members here, and if just half of you watch it and every show has 50 or 60 views, then other people will start taking notice and check us out. We can grow our eFed League. So please do that for us if you're willing to. If not, just like watch 5-10 minutes of it and see if you're entertained. We'd love to hear your thoughts. And then, of course, our Twitch page, twitch.tv/GrownFolksOC. I sound like a used car salesman right now, but tons and tons of great content. Give us likes, subscribes, leave your comments. We want to hear what you're thinking about our community. And man, I like all of you have said, we've got a great group of guys in the OMFL. I'm so glad Cooley was able to come join us. It sucks that Duvall left, but Cooley's a really great guy. And look, this community has gotten to such a place that other people are taking notice, and other people want to be a part of what we're doing, and they want us to come be a part of what they're doing because they can recognize the really great work that we put into this place. So, yeah, we may not be a lot of these other leagues who get to be, retweeted by EA Sports and have 200 views on their streamed games on Twitch, but we do have a really special thing here, and I'm super honored to have all of you a part of it. Speaking of streamed games, we're going to try tonight. I probably can't do it because I have a watch party for the WWE show that we put out and a pay-per-view that I'm probably going to watch. But probably on Monday because I'm off on Monday, or if there's a late-night game tonight, I'm going to try to do some commentary on some games in the next couple of weeks because we haven't done that in a while. Heck, I haven't even got to do the OMFL Bowls because they've been played so quickly and because my schedules didn't match up. So we're going to try to get some commentary games out there. Hopefully either Maniac or Dwayne or Dawson or all three of them can come and join me, and we can have a really good time. So thanks to Smash for joining the show. I'm already getting PMs of guys offering to come do the show, so evidently that's a hit, and we'll have to add some more guys to come and do some 5-minute interviews. And when I say 5-minute, I mean 25-minute because we don't stand with any times around here. But for Dwayne, for Maniac, for Dawson, for all the leadership here in the OMFL, I appreciate you watching the show. Have a blessed week. God bless you. We'll see you next time. Peace.
Take it
See
easy.
y'all.
Welcome on.